around, join the group as they try to earn their way into the final 16. Let's start off breaking down the victory that T1 just brought home. Martin, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, it was overall a fantastic game for them, honestly. They were able to stay in a good spot for a long time. They expected to come back as well, and the highlights in general for the teams that bet on it being south was just, it was rough. Like trying to swim across with teams backfilling you is just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, everybody will hate me for saying this, but I love games like that. Again, where you have this kind of 50-50 decision, it's one way or the other. Again, it just creates so much chaos. The fact that FaZe were able to push through that actually was pretty insane. I mean, it doesn't really end up amounting to anything, but yeah, this was just kind of the byproduct of lots of teams getting weakened in the mid game. Again, losing one in rotation or jumping off a cliff, whatever it may be. But this VP regroup to push on was actually really, really clean mind.
Yeah, the call from Battlers is, I need more nades, and they come flying in with nades with the Romaro. That was actually fantastic. The push defended here from Liquid. They defended this compound twice really well. EB made a huge clutch moment, managed to get it down and managed to get all three back up on spot to make a 3v3 in the end game. Super well played by EB there with the barrel nades coming in again. This is much of a nade game as well, but for me it was really impressive to see T1 be outside that important shrink once it shrunk up to third phase. Yeah. They were in the southeast side, just north of Las Vegas. They made a huge rotation around, coming in on the north side, playing the compound up around on the north side, and managed to take it home from here. Fantastic use of utility, fantastic play from them, and it's really good to see them take back-to-back weekly finals here. Also, especially because this is a team that just before this tournament started made a huge change. They took in Aqua 5, they took in Dang Che, and made a huge change to their whole lineup. So they have really been working and getting into these weekly finals. And the first couple of weekly finals they got into didn't get into was because this was such a new roster.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the desk. My name is Thomas. I'm joined by Hypoc and Avenger as we get back into the discussion. And I think that you saw it reflected in their faces. Adder jumped out of his chair and ran to give someone a hug. Two things I'm not sure happens all that often. I know I don't do much of that. And he was that excited. They were all that excited because they have played every single match and they were desperate for that win, and they come out with it. And to be honest, there is discussion sometimes, Hypoc, about, well, the circle and this and that. Liquid took care of VP, and it ended up as a 3v3. Ibiza had full tier 3 gear going into that fight, and Aqua dropped him like a bad habit.
Yeah, I mean, Liquid eventually deal with VP, right? The fact that VP are able to survive that long, I think, is what takes it away, the victory away from Liquid, honestly. I mean, T1 go unchecked for a matter of, 5 to 10 seconds, and they're able to make that cross. You know, usually, I mean, Liquid, if they're able to reinforce and stop that push from coming across, I mean, they win that 9 times out of 10, but it comes down to the amount of pressure that VP was able to put onto Liquid to keep them away from that ridge. Again, playing split from each other, the further player back is able to kind of play anchor, stop that over peak. And I'm not even sure who it was on the underside. Was it Lou that was throwing all the flashes up? Just kind of prevents them from doing so. But really, I mean, right there, that's what made it most difficult for Liquid to close out, because VP was just this constant presence through that.
It was a very tough game, though, Martin. I mean, at the end of the day, there was a high percentage chance it was going to be a Los Higos circle. Like, we saw teams, and a lot of the teams who fought there towards the end, having to cross back across the bridge. That definitely throws a spanner into this entire match.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually, for me, one of the most interesting games, I've had 2 of these, the Prison and Minas del Sur. I've had 2 of those in ranked games, and honestly, it's some of the most high intense moments because you have no terrain knowledge. The only terrain knowledge you have is Prison, because from running there, everything east of that you don't know anything about. You don't know the heights, and it's actually really interesting terrain. Yes, there's a lot of water around, but for the teams that manage to get across and manage to play that area, it's some of the most intense endings. So I was really crossing my fingers to see a Prison / Minas del Sur ending.
I mean, to put it in perspective, we're sitting in the green room watching with almost the entire team, and between that group, we've got thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of hours, and we were discussing how do you get up into the Higos wall, because it's so rare that you see those circles. So the players have to be in a very similar situation. That is that for that game. We've got 3 more coming up, but we are in a similar situation of we need to take a short break, so don't go anywhere. Be back in just a few.
Show me the gamma, I wanna check. Climbing and climbing, I humble ya. I'm in my squad, feeling like I know I'm the greatest, I crumble ya. Made it from the bottom to the top, I did it there. Got these other players, everybody breathing for air. Aim it and lock it. Shoot. The winner takes it all. Taking it all. No one breaking in his mind, what? Are you ready? Welcome to the battle, ready, set, fight. Welcome to the battle, ready, set, fight. Aim it and lock it. Shoot. The winner takes it all. Taking it all. Shoot. Aim it and lock it. You know that nobody like me, cause I'm faster when I'm stronger. You can have me in the guarantee, cause the winner takes it all. You ready?
Merhaba, ben Dijital Atletik Süden Mörtü.
Ben Mitralyos.
Makes the switch back over, spots out, goes for the spray, connects with him as he jumps over towards it, and Digital Athletics gets this somehow.
Ne olduğunu anlamadım. Her şey bir anda oldu, gelişti. Zaten birinci olabileceğimi oyun içerisinde de konuşuyorduk. Bir şekilde yaptım. Gerçekten oyun içinde ne oldu bitti ben de hala bilmiyorum.
They're just so passive. They just pull and they play. Oh, that's not how we want to see it. Look what that just did. That got them through to a week.
Marco bana bir kere sarıldı, oradan işte öbür Smash Güngör'le de tokalaştım. Herkeste bir böyle şaşkın bir ifade vardı böyle. Ne olduğunu onlar da anlamamıştı benim gibi. Bir şaşkınlık söz konusuydu. Sonra Marco tekrar bir daha sarılmak istedi. Mutluluğumuzu öyle yaşadık orada.
Hard right now, they can't seem to find the knocks, and Navi is just dismantling them one by one.
Navi'nin varlığından haberdar değildik. Sanırım bizde birazcık şey vardı. Geçen haftadan bitirmemizin rahatlığı vardı. Orada Navi'nin %100 geleceğini biliyoruz. İlk başta day trade vurduktan sonra hemen Navi'ye bakmamız gerektiğini konuştuk kendi aramızda işte. Bir rahatlama evresi oldu. Bir loot atma olayı gerçekleşti. Day trade'in 4 tane loot vardı. Biz de iyi loot'la değildik. Orada Navi gelmiş. Bakmamız gerekiyordu. Orada bir hata oldu. Orada zaten ilk başta videonun başında zıplıyorum. Orada bir çığlık atıyorum. Belki oyunun kayıt sesleri varsa onu buraya ekleyebilirler.
Adam gel, push.
Ben kendim aldım. Direkt tek kaldığımı gördüm. Arabaya bindim. Circle ortasında zaten bildiğimiz oralarda yılanlayabileceğim yer, spotlar vardı. Hemen arabaya bindim ve dedim ki nereye gidebilirim bir bakın dedim. Ayrıyetten ben oraya doğru sürüyordum. Oraya karar kıldık. Girdim çukura yattım.
Quiet. He does not want to give away the game. He may get the knock on one, but the conversion unlikely.
Adama sıkmamam gerekiyor. Zaten bunu herkes farkındadır. Sıkmamam gerekiyor. Çünkü orada ben ses yaparsam öleceğim. Hani eğer olur da bana dönerse, bana bakarsa en azından vurabileyim diye dürbünü açtım, izliyordum öyle. Görmedi beni, o da ölmedi, ben de ölmedim. Devam ettik işimize.
Ama bu arada sistemden dolayı da belki görse bile Mitra'ya vurmayacaktı. Çünkü zaten kill puanı yok ya. Ve orada bir fight atıyor onlar. Onun da ateş edip ses vermesi, o cross koymuş yukarıdan gelen takım bekliyor. Onun için dezavantaj. Belki görse bile Mitra'yı ateş etmeyecekti çünkü o da öldürmeyebilirdi Mitra'yı görse de.
Ne güzel boost'unu içiyor. İçeceğini içiyor ne güzel Eder orada.
Su içene yılan bile dokunmaz.
Evet.
Mitra yılan. O da içiyor.
Planlı değil, tamamıyla o an işte etrafımızdaki olan bitenleri değerlendirmeye çalıştık. Zaten PUBG öyle bir oyun. Etrafınızda çok fazla rakip var ve bu rakip herkes düşman olduğu için iki düşman kendi arasında savaştığı zaman siz bunu çok rahat bir şekilde kendiliğinize çevirebiliyorsunuz. Meta üstüne orada bir de smoke atmış benim için. Meta'nın kullandığı smoke'lardan geçtim ben de. Hatta kulübenin orası da smoke'luydu. Kapının önüne geldim. Dedim ki ya dedim bu kulübenin girişi nerede falan. Bir baktım tam benim geldiğim taraftaymış bir de. Attım kendimi içeri, oh dedim tamam hadi. Siz dedim savaşın kendi aranızda, ben bir 2 dakika sonra ayağa kalkarım.
Vitriol, who's had everything working against him, finally might have the opportunity to take this one.
Oyun boyu zaten savaşarak geldiğim için, ondan öncesinde çok fazla adam vurduğum için herhangi bir heyecan durumu yoktu oyun sonunda. Ama adam vurduktan sonra elim ayağım boşaldı artık. Kolum ayağım hiçbir yerimi hissetmiyordum. Onu bilmiyordum. Ben orada tamamıyla hani baitlediğini düşündüm. Şöyle baitlediğini düşündüm. Sniper'ın olduğunu düşündüm. Çünkü sürekli AR'siyle sıkıyordu. Sabit bir şekilde bakmamı, sanki benden böyle sabit bakayım da bana o hani tek mermisini göndersin öyle oynuyor gibi biraz hissettim ve birazcık daha pasif oynadım. DMR'ın olmadığını bilsem minimle vururdum onu ama buraya gelirken şampiyon olmak için geldik. Şampiyon olmadan da dönmeyeceğiz.
Kazandığım parayla Adana kebapçı açmayı düşünüyorum. Bu beni çok motive ediyor. Mitra'yı çünkü orada ücretsiz bir şekilde Adana kebabı yedireceğim.
Adana kebap yemeği dört gözle bekliyoruz.
Teşekkür ederim. Takım dostluğu böyle bir şey.
Hashtag squad goals. Opening a restaurant for your teammate is the ultimate act of love. I loved that segment, by the way. The insight was awesome. The even a snake doesn't bite while a man is drinking was amazing. So kudos for putting that together. It was a lot of fun. All right, let's get back into what is happening next. Another team joins the fray with attack all around. Hypoc, I know you like breaking these guys down, so talk to me what to expect from this team as they come into play.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not an awful lot to break down, Steve, to be honest. This is another one on the list of absentees from this tournament, to be quite honest. It's, again, getting to the point now, I can say the same thing that we've said about a couple of other teams. Now's the time we've got to see something, right?
Yeah.
We're coming into the last 2 weeks. Again, there's not an awful lot to come through. We're in match 14 now, so yeah, maybe if the miracle's there. So I can't give you a better answer than that, sorry.
No, in a way, I suppose we were asking for that. And that's what they were asking for when you come into an event like this and can't really put up numbers that leave much to talk about. That said, there are 3 games left to get there, Martin. The problem is there is a lot of big names, like a shocking amount of names that need to get through in these final 3 matches. Do they change strategy? What do you do if you're a team like Liquid or FaZe or SDK or Zenith, the current money leaders who are still trying to fight their way into the weekly final?
Yeah, I don't know what you want to do here. Is besides just reset, GG, go again. Like the hardest thing to do is resetting between games and like completely wiping your mind in terms of, guys, last game, unfortunate, we didn't make it, we didn't get it. GG, go again. Like, you need to be able to do that. If you don't, you will tilt from game to game. You're gonna miss your shots. You're gonna make bad calls because it's immensely stressful here, and it's a win a game or go home, and it's one of the hardest formats to play, and yeah. I can't. I'm sad on these guys that are. You can see how hard it is on them not making it. But this is the format. It's equal for everyone. There's no different from the other 31 teams that is out on here. So they have to just go GG, try again here. Liquid second place, 11 kills. It was close. Could have other decisions made them in a different spot. Could have they done differently? Sure, they probably could have. They could probably have tried some more utilities. That there's multiple opportunities to have done differently, but they didn't make the decision to put them in the late spot. And T1 they out rotated and repositioned so well during that game. It was improved, like very impressive to see.
All right, Hypoc, you saw attack all around on the screen right there. We're not going to talk about them. I do want to talk about, there's 2 teams, Zenith and SDK. You know them well. Zenith was the leader coming into this, but SDK is a favorite, or was a favorite from NA coming into this entire event. They went out in 16th in the last round. What's going on?
I mean, this time around, this week has been a little different from the others. I guess they've not really found many opportunities to be overly aggressive and go hunting for kills in the mid game, which, yes, we can talk about the format here, but the way SDK finds success is clearing space and getting themselves into a position where they then can capitalize on those unfavorable circles, right? It's these kind of pin everything on one play, and that team fight, if it comes in their favor, it comes in their favor. I mean, we saw it on the Miramar game when they were able to deal with ENCE effectively, got them to the late game, unfortunately falling short to Sonics, but a quieter look this time around. I mean, on a macro level, they still look fantastic, so it's a bit of a mystery. I've still got them pinned to clutch out in the last few.
I could definitely see that happening. The last game was a crazy one, a weird circle. Anything could have happened. So hopefully those teams can put it out of their mind and focus on the final 3 matches, the last 3 chances to punch your ticket to what is going to be more than $600,000 for first place this weekend. Let's get into it. Let's get some action. Let's get Matrim and Pansy.
Let's do it. All right, we are into this one. Starting off by Zaki, heading on down towards military base. Everything up in the air, and we, as said, have to look across the board. AAA are coming in. We haven't been able to kind of put them into a massive amount of the conversation. Certainly within their own sort of areas doing okay, but I wouldn't say they are one of the forerunning teams. I think they've been, I hate to say it, a bit middling. Outside of that, though, still seeing Zenith, still seeing FaZe, a couple of big names absent from qualifying thus far, and as Steve and the desk did say, there's now only 3 goes left at this, so only so many teams can make it through. This is where the pressure starts to mount, and these players, I cannot fathom the amount of pressure they are under here. Considering, Matrim, the tournament... Next go. Circle comes in. 50-50 again.
Sure. You guys know all the statistics we talked about last time. Take your gamble. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the teams that opted towards Island last time might be more hesitant, but there's a much higher propensity that this is going to be going to military base Island whenever we look at this. The way that the circle shifts, it's still 50-50, but it's not as risky this time to go back down towards military versus going towards prison. To follow up on what you were talking about a second ago, though, Pansy, the how pivotal these last 3 rounds are for not just making it into this week's finals, but also being in a good position for next week's survival rounds. We're going to see a massive skyrocketing in the cash that these teams are taking home over this weekend and next weekend. Qualifying in, getting into the top 16 so that way you play in the very first rounds to enable a higher chance to make it into next week's weekend finals are also so important to do. If you're trying to walk home with as much money as possible, you need to win in these last 3 rounds, hands down. Not just for the money this weekend, but for the money that's going to be coming the week after that. Because if you think this weekend's got a ton of money, hell, next week is going to be absolutely insane.
It does just get to this unbelievable amount. And this is what I mean about pressure, though. These players, as much as, you know, when you're in the game, you're focused on your next step, you're focused on the right call, you're focused on everything that's in front of you. The second the game's over, the adrenaline just slightly slips away from you. You get to have that breath out of the game. That pressure starts to mount again in different forms. All of these teams are certainly feeling that. I'm sure some substantially more than others, maybe not so used to feeling this amount of pressure. Clib about to just, you know, tap the tail, try and turn Jeems around just for the funsies. No, doesn't do it. Carries on. Liquid, quick adjustment here from them. Back to their more normal drop of Pachinki. So their loot route will be truly refined. They should be in good form moving forward, used to these very early rotations. They will have to get past DXG, but DXG aren't directly at the bridge. They're looting around the sides. It is Shoot to Kill who will be over on the island, and FaZe doing a similar thing on the eastern bridge.
We talked about this a little bit as we've seen these different islands. Bridge camping, not as strong as we're used to seeing. Most notably, it's just due to the drive-by meta. Whenever you set up these defensive lines for the bridges, you're expecting to like get a quick pop-off on somebody as they make their approach. But the issue is usually you're kind of standing out in a couple of more vulnerable positions. You're trying to line up on how a team is going to curve and rotate through, so that way you can get multiple members of your team firing at them at the same time. That's the best way to make a bridge camp work. Issue is, whenever people can shoot you while they're riding inside the car, seat swap over, those positions become a lot more vulnerable in this situation. So a lot of teams will probably be leaning away from that. Team Liquid already holding down position towards the north. Looks like they're still scouting. They haven't settled just quite yet. Burram's going to be coming in on the western bridge right back behind them. FaZe has already made a push on the eastern bridge, and it looks like it's going to be Detonation White that's going to be rolling behind them. 4 AM is going to be along a similar corridor. It's just really pick your bridge, pick your boat, maybe find some other way to cross, as we've seen swimming be a little bit more opportunistic for some of these guys that like to take the 50-50 gamble and stay towards the north.
First bit of contact.
Shoot to Kill, Team Liquid. Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting a little close. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think for Liquid, just trying to find out who's already over here, where were their initial adjustments. It's more, I feel, fact-finding than anything. It looks like Liquid have gone towards the yellows, towards the east of the western bridge. Should be okay. I don't see any problems with that. Buriram's the only dangerous one, just in case you get crazy Buriram. Who knows what version you get. Virtus Pro and Ents will be late to join here. Tiamba can take the boats. They should be okay. I think the rest of them are over towards like Primor's side, just to the left of Lorena here. I think you can just see them on the mini-map there. So again, long routes in, but it looks like if you're not going to the island itself, you'll be sitting on the cliffs just in case. That's basically your two choices, right? You've got DXG, AAA, I guess some of Zenith, 4 AM. Whether or not they commit to this is yet to be seen. But they are your options. You don't sit any further north of that. If it goes further north, then fair play. But the most likely and the safest way to play this is that divide. Now, I do want to see what FaZe do with this. They've got an interesting split kind of going on. Fuzzface is on the radio tower, and he's not being subtle. He wants to show presence. He wants to make himself, seem larger than life. But then Uber, Gustav, I imagine 8C, of course, is joined with him as well. But they're way further towards the west, kind of towards the standalone station, just on the other side of the military area. So a bit of a wider spread. Shoot to Kill trying to do a similar thing. Quite a wide 2-2 split. And there should be room, considering there's still a fair crack of teams towards the northern side.
Here come the boat setups, and look at Lorena, just backing up, making it as easy as possible. TSM finding themselves a care package to work with. That'll help propel them towards the later sections of this round. They are one of the teams that are still on the main island proper right now, so I think they might be opting to play near edge, maybe going towards the coastline where there's already a lot of teams fortified up. Ints, Divine, VP, no big rush. Tiamba's going to get rewarded for their boat rotation, as they're going to be the only team really in boats at this stage. Everybody else is either just leaning into the Vegas numbers, it feels like. Pick north, pick south, hope the fact that the circle goes in your favor. Now, I do kind of have my eyes drawn to the fact that 4AM and Zenith are getting pretty close to each other, and Zenith is running that 2-2 split. That could lead to maybe a small skirmish, but everybody's still playing for safety. The pressure mounting, knowing that these last 3 rounds are so ridiculously important for them. So a little bit more, I guess, controlled play coming in now. We saw a super wild circle last time, and there you go. Shot from Forever. Going to connect onto Punich to get the down onto him. That was kind of expected with the 2-2 split lining up in that situation. Buriram holding down this position. If anybody does opt into rolling through the bridge and decides to send it really far south, you could find the fact that this positioning that they're playing, most notably with Edie up on that hillside, being very pivotal for their success.
Rasmu's in danger. Yeah, he's been caught in the heels. Batulins, the rest of Furia were pretty much starting to move away from this, I think, or at least were kind of already in the vehicles. And VP just get one for free. Now, they don't really equate to points, but they do certainly move the team away that was in front of you, send them scattering. Also, the knock-on effect, I guess the ripple, would be that now also DXG do show their positioning as well. So Virtus Pro have a fair idea of what's around them. TSM also to their east, but I don't know if they're fully aware of that yet. And Ents still working down in the north, near towards school as it stands. But 4AM, you were looking towards these guys, and it looks like they're, I don't want to say committing to this, they're sitting there for now. They've found some safety here. And this is why you were worried, because of the potential angle on this too. Oh.
Feels good. Feels good.
Yep.
I want more of it.
Yep. Yeah, we see. Look, bolt actions are the best in this game. Like, okay, DMRs are fine, but there's something real nice about that shot. You know, it gives you warm and fuzzy feelings. So more of that, please. That'd be lovely. But we're still waiting on that circle to update. This is going to be it's going to be a quiet start because it's a 50-50 split, right? You've got the north teams and the south teams, and they're not overly close for a fight. Down one. Taking a fight on this split? There's so much room here. Okay, they're really opting to fight for this, and this could still move away from this position.
I think it's just because they understand that they have the numbers advantage here. They might have realized that this is a 2-2 split in situation, and you can see whenever you decide to crash into this, it's easy pickup. Under, playing that very well, very methodical, looks back, trying to get the spray, roll till it's through, and nope, not going to connect onto Kickstart. You can see the circle has popped and definitely leaning towards Military Base Island. You know what that means? Bridge rushes, Pansy. We're going to see a lot of them. So these repositions for these teams that might be holding high ground, such as FaZe and Brewerom, could be quite pivotal very quickly.
Oh, Furia can't get away from Virtus Pro. They are just saying, all right, well, you can go first, see how it feels, and we'll just come along behind you. No problem with that. Liquid have moved up. Brewerom have taken that position. Now, Brewerom might get some shots on these bridge crosses. I wonder if anyone's going to take some damage. It looked like Furia kind of lent that way for a second. Oh, Rusty Zera tries to make the run out of the vehicle. Oh, dear. Haradra is making light work, and Furia just getting caught off in horrible ways today. This is a rough game for them to start with. No happiness to come from this. Virtus Pro continuing now. Where did they go towards? Ganaxi, God Meow, all there, spraying and wildly, get a couple of connections, but VP still stand, but they are weakened.
This is just a mess of people trying to roll through this western bridge. It's a quick spray. Nordra yet again in the vehicle. He doesn't even care about camping positions. He's just roaming the hillsides, taking on whoever's around him, taking shots and hunting them down. Liquid gets vision on the backside of this fight, and VP is in some trouble.
Yeah, they are. With Clib watching this too, Spyro's going to have to be careful. Clib's not bad with this. The bolt actions are out, boys. And Virtus Pro wanted to be further than this, but the vehicles got kind of tattered en route. You had Batulans going down, and Virtus Pro get left in no man's land. It is defendable, but it's not perfect. They've got very little, very limited in front of them. And Clib, he can pot these shots all he wants. He's more than happy to do that. Ents now joining through as well. Do they go to the right? No. They veer off right towards Virtus Pro. Prepare yourself. This could be another clash here. VP, Liquid, Brewerom, and Ents all tied up in this very close fight to each other now.
Early shots come out from Brewerom, forcing Ince along the hillside. That's going to roll them along a similar path to where VP is positioned. Ince now realizing, seeing the vehicles in front of them and going, hey, we can't go that way. Now cuts a new direction. Rustamar in a lot of trouble, just kind of circling around, caught in between the two teams. The rest of the teams have opted to go back to the south of it. Tixu does get spotted, does get flushed out of his vehicle. Now it's a matter of, can we see Rustamar regroup with the rest of Ince? And looks like he did manage to get the vision and the distance to get away from that. 8Z, though, now playing the other side of this, is going to have to contest in position as Divine is rolling through. I think that FaZe should be able to line up away from this, but this is an interesting little situation we've got brewing.
It's looking very explosive. None of the positions, so we're kind of, I guess, shoot to kill, VP, Team Liquid, AAA, hard to defend. They are just kind of open terrain with a couple of rocks and bits and pieces. Promo code going to be coming up for you any second now. Make sure you get that as it's on your screen. Get it in the game. I'm not as nice as Matrim. I will not be reading it out. So make sure you use your eyes, pop it in your game, and get your goodies. All right, back to the game, though. I think all but one team, once TSM get over here, have made it to the island. It's just down one Kia, who are still on the northern side of this. Now, if there is method to the madness, I wait.
Just a moment ago, gets dropped out of the vehicle.
Yeah, lovely shooting there from shoot to kill. Really enjoyed that. Down one, their first challenge will be getting past LG Divine, if they can stay alive. If they go further south, it'd be FaZe. If they went kind of swung back around, it'd be towards Zenith. They shots in, unfound a target. I think Juns did. And again, double dipping. And it looks like down one have made it past this challenge for now. I'm seeing shoot to kill. Finding Clib. No insta flush, but that could be problems being found. And oh, okay. Down Gear decided to pull up on this. Maybe seeing vulnerability, and Jun has to make it out of there. Try and make a mad dash away. Good moves gets him to. somewhat safety. This area, this part of trying to leave the compound would have been the harder bit. So he decides, let me stick at the wall before I run that open path, make sure Levi's is in a good position, and Turtle to cover me if I need.
That was so well played from Kia. A grenade landed right on top of them, realized the fact that it could be an issue, hopped into the vehicle, let the grenade go off, took less damage due to it, and then hopped back out to avoid a knock. Great situational awareness in what's occurring right now. You can see now everybody is too close, and it's making for some very problematic situations. TSM ends up knocking themselves. One of the vehicles connects with it. That's pretty rough for them. So now TSM looking back over, got 4AM right in front of them. It's going to be a difficult situation for TSM as they're going to have to crest over, but they do have grenades to work with, starting to toss them into 4AM's direction, but 4AM looks like they're trying to step into them, let them fall back down behind them. That's one of the ways you can try to play around the grenades. Step through the grenades, let them roll back behind you and try to move into a little bit more of an aggressive spot. Then go for your peek while somebody's making the switch back over to their weapons. Not much bruise out of that other than just a little bit of aggression and a back and forth exchange of grenades. The question comes into play, are we going to be able to see TSM get to Miraku as now Liquid is rolling up right into this, and it's going to be Kill Demo from Fury that has vision on it, gets the knock on the clip.
I don't know if I like this move from Liquid. They had the compounds. I find this unnecessary. You can see Ibby looking for that other ditch, but it's already preoccupied. 16th place for Liquid, and they were where God Meow is now. Yeah, it's not ideal, but it's pretty safe considering in the circle, I mean, it's lent that way very favorably. To make the move prior to that circle coming in is kind of put them on the problems, but forever bails 4AM out of theirs. Finding TSM secures position on this hillside for now. Gives them a bit of respite to get those reses in, get your players back up. Godv was knocked. They're back up to 4 now. FaZe need to start making their move. They've been kind of playing on towards the kind of radio tower hill, over towards that side. They've got a rough run in front of them. You've got Shoot to Kill as probably the end boss, but plenty of people prior to that. Tiamba, DXG, Ents, and Furia all will have opportunities to pop shots towards FaZe. Division X will be trying to tap away. Not so much luck on that this time, but FaZe slowly working their way forward as best they can. And in the north, of course, Zenith starting to work towards AAA, the newer comers to the lobby.
With this, DXG is going to rotate pretty close to Ins, holding down the different parts of the barrack. You can see Divine now posted up. They're going to have to move. They've got Kia just to the south of them. DXG does end up stopping at the barracks, so Ins looking like they're retreating away from this. Do note with the hard shift over towards the west, that does mean the fact that Shoot to Kill. We're also going to see Buriram, AAA, and Zenith all in halfway decent spots, but Furia has a great hillside where they're providing a lot of information and what's going on and can really do damage to teams as they're specifically rotating south. The east is going to pop off at any given moment as we have Kia, Divine, and FaZe that are all going to have to make an approach over there. FaZe already making the foot rush, trying to see if maybe they can get some more information as they go, because this is going to be a little bit hazardous. If they look towards the north and they continue pushing towards the northwestern push, that means that they're going to bump into 4AM at about the same moment that Kia is going to be bumping into 4AM. 4AM has been able to handle one of these pushes already with multiple teams stacking against them, but that does mean resources are being burned by 4AM. They have to be very cautious to not end up another pincered situation.
4AM are in good positions in this, though. They've got a decent, line of defense to catch this. Godv a little bit further away from the others isn't necessarily a bad thing. He gets to get the, catch from the side. Forever and Lou gonna find the first start to this, though. And Indigo making it a little bit easier with that knock towards Kale. This is looking done for. Down 1, down to, I think, maybe 1 or 2 at most standing. And LG Divine gonna start coming this way. 4AM, it's gonna be a non-stop action. Now, out of nowhere, Uber's turned up. Indigo goes down, and now that's another team added to the mix. FaZe from the south, Zenith from the north, LG Divine kind of joined in with the others. This is madness in the east.
It's just so hard to win all of these fights. There are so many different angles, so many different teams that are stacked on different points, and they're fairly spread across multiple defensive lines. You can see firing lines are so difficult to come by, but 4AM is somehow weathering the storm of players and teams that are just flooding into their position. FaZe still creeping in a little bit more while Zenith is crunching in from the north. LG Divine still caught out inside the blue, can't make it any further forward as 4AM is having to focus so much attention towards them. Now, it's going to be a little bit more of a pop-off as FaZe looks towards them from the south, but a quick spin back over. Lou trying to hold it together for his team, but you can see there's just so many people around them. They're so limited in options and ways to peek and defend this.
Tiamba's coming up as well. More teams going into this. 4AM starting to get too surrounded. FaZe have a good wrap on them with Zenith in the north, and then throwing Tiamba towards the south. FaZe will have no idea they're about to get pressure from below them, somewhere they thought was safe, unless someone's watching it, which I don't think they are. 4 a.m., too much attention, too little time. God V flashed up, naded. Zenith wants to close this. God V now just tries to stay alive. Get a bit of a net off, heal off. Oh, the nades just undone everything. There it is. Shots come in. 4 a.m. are done for between FaZe and Zenith. But now look at what's happened. Gustav finally gets the spot. Does a great bit of work joined by AC towards Lin Shun. So they know we've got further problems coming our way. Zenith still have the remainder of LG Divine, but Turtle's way out in the blue, so he's got other problems on his hands to handle. Now Zenith, I wonder if they want to punish FaZe on this or simply go into the circle.
It looks like Zenith is trying to move to chase after whatever's happening with FaZe, hoping that maybe there's a bigger firefight than what's going on. FaZe, in control of the territory around them, is forcing all the remnants of teams to just kind of hide out, but FaZe continuing their push to the south as they're just on the hunt. They want to get a controlled area, and they know that they have the advantages in their favor right now. A lot of these teams have been fighting and scrapping for a while, and FaZe has just been kind of the extra factor inside of this, picking up kills as it goes. They've been influencing factors in almost every fight that's gone on to the east so far. But Mings, the last member up for Tiamba, is finally going to get vision onto Fuzzface, pull the trigger, get the shots towards him, and now it's going to be about what kind of distraction does this provide for FaZe. With the shots, are Zenith going to continue to go on the hunt, or are they going to let this one slow down?
The thing is, Tiamba are dead in this position. It's what Zenith does, in my mind. Mings, I don't think he can really make it in here. If he goes a little more towards the north, Zenith will probably see him. If he just runs straight in, he's done for. Punish finally gets that vision, though. Finds a line of sight towards, I think it was Gustav there. Gets a couple of shots through the SLR. Nothing crazy connecting, no headies, but enough to make FaZe realize, okay, we're still not out of the danger zone here. Mings again just burning through meds. He's just trying to live this, and I don't think he can outlive this one anytime soon. Shoot to Kill is a name I want to bring up eventually. They are in the distance. You can see them there. They're the ones quietly working away in the west. Now, they've got a really good position to work with, but they have Buriram potentially coming their way, which is a dangerous fight unto itself. Now, Mings is going to make the move. No more big meds, and yeah, he's done for. That was a matter of time. It was it Zenith or was it FaZe? And in that time, did we see Zenith maybe push FaZe? Now, FaZe, the further south they go, you can see DXG are getting close by. FaZe have got no way to break away from these fights at the moment, and Zenith are just herding them forward.
Yeah, this is going to be a fight that has to break out at some point. VP up towards the north with Detonation actually in a pretty good position after losing a couple of members early. FaZe waiting this one through, but it's Zenith that's still harassing from back behind. And now that they hear the shots, Division X steps up, and that's all she wrote for FaZe. They were in so many fights over on the east. Zenith finally walking away from everything, losing just one member for all the fights and the 6 kills that they managed to pick up.
I think I'm seeing DGW start to push towards Virtus Pro as well. I'd love to keep an eye on that fight whenever it starts kicking off. As Virtus Pro down to 2, and DGW were their neighbors, I think, at one point. So I'm wondering if they're just trying to clear them out to maybe create a safer path forward for themselves. Zenith, though, managed to make it out of that fight pretty well, considering we had 4 AM full, we had FaZe full, plenty of teams out in the east, and Virtus Pro, that's a scary house to main in. Look at this, knocking at the door, 4 players. All ready to go. Hiruzen is looking worse for wear, but it's quiet. The mollies are in already. There's the spray. Cease just commits through the smoke. And Lou might just pop a little molly down and hope that it keeps him safe.
This is just such a hard position to play. He's got himself at least a little bit of a defensive position that he can like burn time, and that's almost what you're just hoping to do. Is you sit here, you survive long enough, these guys keep using utility, grenades, they're being loud, maybe somebody will come in, third party, and give you some way to make some type of opportunistic play. Get a knock onto him, because they know exactly who's going up against. They just saw who got the knock onto the teammate, who got the flush onto it, so they're hoping that somebody participates, maybe gets a savior of some type, just spray, maybe you can get something out of it, does get the knock onto one of them, but it's not going to be anything really. It's just going to be a res, maybe some armor burned out of it, all things considered. So we're starting to get everybody get their defensive positions. Zenith, not content in the east, looks like they're going to go ahead and send it a little bit more towards the center. That's going to give Ints a little bit more of a sight line towards them. Kickstart takes a lot of damage, but this little bit of a dip that they're playing right here is quite strong, as it becomes very hazardous for some of the teams to peek over into it. Whenever you go for these peaks, really, it's just the southern area that you have to be very cautious of. And that's exactly where we have DXG holding down at.
Yeah, DXG is a big problem for Zenith. They have the only real bit of vision. If Zenith could clear out DXG, they are in a really strong spot. Without that happening, they are going to be shooting targets, and that's what it is. Fergus going to find Poonage very easily from here, and Zenith can't secure this yet. Burram in a bit of a battle now, starting with shoot to kill. That's going to be coming through. Luke 12 now. Oh, he just ran right over it. Edie finds Luke 12, and Burram on a quiet 6-kill game. That's quiet for them, keep in mind. Now 7. DGW starting to spread the wealth across the north side of the map, go for a little bit of a walkabout, try and get a bit more territory, see how far they can maybe stretch this as well, because they did just take that compound away from VP, so they get a bit more land to play with. Burram and shoot to kill DXG and DGW. What a curious endgame this is going to be. Burram, this could be their ticket to the weekend if they play this right.
There's opportunities for almost every one of these teams. It's just about counter moves and defending territory. DXG going to have to rotate in from the south and could opt into playing over near where Shoot to Kill is positioning at. Burram, they do have a closer track and can get one of their members inside the safe zone quite easily if they decide to. The big question comes into play is, are we going to see Detonation White or Ince be a little bit more aggressive? But it feels like the aggressors right now are just this continual battle and the back and forth nature that's going on. Connexy. We've seen Connexy have so many great plays for this team. That means it's going to lean a little bit more into Nordra, who's been having a phenomenal game so far.
0 meds left. I think Burram might have burnt their way through most of their kind of backup in this. Now, Ents are down to 2, and as you can see, the position they're in is far from perfect, being kept safe by a smoke or 2. Division X quietly working away here. Burram left with a little lacking supply, and I've got to say it, DGW have probably the better shot of this, but they're not really spreading the kind of, information around the map. They're not getting themselves spread out there. You've got the complete entirety of the East they could maybe get a bit of vision on, maybe just ensure no one can wrap towards them, get themselves set up for that late game, try and take some space to kind of create that avenue. Whereas at least Division X are trying to work their way forward. I think Ents is the first target for them. If they wanted to fight on Burram, it'd be pretty tricky, and they would be open to the likes of Ents. So that's the first step for them in the south, is find Ents and get past them cleanly.
I'm still just trying to figure out what's going on with having one member laying down in position. I mean, if somebody peeks over, it does give you a little bit more control, but it's just another member that's not gathering information at the time. The fight's starting to break out now between Ince and DXG. Ince has moved into a more aggressive positioning into DXG, but that's going to be a nice grenade. Flipping over the car to take down 1, but Squeaky's still alive. Spots out IQ 500. Now counter moving through the smokes. 2 members for DXG still up, and Burram and Detonation White just content to let this fight break out in between it. It's all about what Squeaky can try to do against these other 2 members. Lines up, misses the pass on the first one, but spots out the second one. Gets him down to about half-life, but cannot get it. So now 2 members up for DXG, going to have to continue forward, but they do have control over the south.
Division X need to stay real quiet to late game. Try and allow Burram and DGW to have their fight. Destination Gaming White desperately need to start moving forward. They have center-ish circle, but they are very passive to this to a degree. Division X, I like what they're doing here. That kind of, if they continue that route, that'd be pretty decent, and this divides the fight. Basically to make these two other teams fight. Buram, I don't think are going to crest that hillside. It's not enough of a benefit. They'll be forced into Destination Gaming. This could be a great chance for Division X to do something. It's going to be snaky, it's going to be third-party-ish, but you have every opportunity to do this unless Destination Gaming put their foot down, use the advantage of players, but I haven't seen them late game in a while.
It comes down to aim for Buram at this point. They know where Detonation White is, but you can see this low hold that's going on. God Kree spots out. God Meow retreats away from that point. Now, Buram has to be so careful. The blue's coming in. Vision is near on nothing, pushing into the smokes. They're crawling forward, and Detonation White is just trying to hold this one through. DXG hasn't opted into making a play yet, but they are being at least enough of a distraction to provide Buram a couple of moments. God Meow trying to creep forward to see if maybe he can get some vision for his teammate. Be the survivor for it, but Edie does spot out one. That means Detonation White down to 3 from this point. Lots of damage coming back to Buram. Edie goes down. Nordro on nothing, and there we go. Fergus pops back over, looking into Detonation White. Numbers in the advantage of it, but another one goes down. DXG could have an opportunity here. Only one up for Detonation. Are they gonna spot this out?
Malofo, the last one alive, being torn to shreds by Division X Gaming out of nowhere against the odds. Close it down with the win there. Great approach.
DXG earned that one. You have to say it. They were in so many fights as they moved through there. Ridiculously excited. I like it. Throw the jersey up. That's actually a pretty clean jersey, all things considered. I like the back when it's all set together. DXG had to fight a lot of teams and survive through some pivotal moments there. And I like the patience that they brought into that last fight and realizing they could third-party that. They could use that as their opportunity to get the win. You were talking about it in game, Pansy, and that's exactly what they did. It was just a clean maneuver and good game awareness on how to take the infight.
Sharp mechanics on these guys. Keep in mind, Detonation Gaming, yeah, I think they'd had one player knocked by Buram at that point, but to be able to basically the inability to stabilize after that fight to try and reassess the scenario you're in and instantly get ready for that next opponent, it was done in a second. Division X wasted no time. Absolutely no time at all. So as soon as that prospect came up, and I've got to say, I think it was like Neil T just hit such a great shot at the beginning, Fergus as well. They've been a pretty decent team throughout this as well. I mean, Long K was fragging out in some of the previous games. They've certainly had some highlights throughout this. So I'm happy to see them convert this. They were not in an easy scenario by any means. They had to get past Ents, and we know what Ents are like. They may not be the team to kind of be the big highlight, but they can frag. So for them to get past them, find the correct fight going forward, was just perfect. It looks like the interview's almost ready, so as soon as it is, we'll be hopefully hearing from them. But overall, a very deserved win.
8 games is, I believe, what it took for DXG to manage to get the chicken dinner to secure a spot in the weekly finals. But with this, there are a lot of teams that I know that everybody is just waiting for. Most notably, that felt like that could have been Buram's game. They were fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Buram just keeps gelling more and more as this event goes on, and I'm just getting more and more impressed. Like, you're seeing their skill level, their communication, the way to take fights. It's just skyrocketing. If you compare them now against what we were seeing in the earlier weeks, you're seeing the fact that they're using this event and taking so much experience from it and just trying to find ways to make it work in their system.
Very much so. Now, look, I am an EU caster, it's no surprise, but we're missing a lot of EU teams now. Not converting, this has not been a good week for them. You're going to start seeing this look like PEL soon, and none of them going through. So this is going to be a fight for survival. Keep in mind, to re-qualify through is going to be hard. You want to have as many opportunities to get those games under your belt. And they're going to be forced in survival, just to try and purely get into a good position to play out some of these games. As said, very few spaces remain. 2 more games to go today. And that's it. That's all the opportunities that are left. I'm not mistaken, I believe the interview is ready. Let's head over there now.
PGIS Weekly Survival Week 5. The winners of our fourth match was Division X Gaming. I'm here with player Fergus. This is your first weekly finals. I'm sure you must have a lot to say because this is our first interview with you. What do you want to say first?
Bạn có muốn nói gì với chị ở đây không ạ? Thì